The member for Merriman-Coulter-Tramont.
Mr. Speaker, last week, NB Liquor announced it will phase out single-use plastic bags. Prince Edward Island will institute a ban beginning July 1st. And last night, the Moncton City Council voted in first reading to ban them with their municipality by July 2020. Dieppe and Riverview plan to follow Moncton's lead, yet the provincial government is absent on this file. Dieppe Mayor Yvon Lapierre has said he is not prepared to wait for the province. Instead of a patchwork framework, the government needs to show leadership with a province-wide ban. A recent Corporate Research Associates poll found 3/4 of residents in Moncton, Fredericton, and St. John would support a ban. The Retail Council of Canada has also called for a uniform ban across the province to make it easier for retailers to implement. Will the Minister of Environment and Local Government commit to taking the lead to work with municipalities to ban single-use plastic bags in New Brunswick?
The Minister of Environment and Local Government.
Actually, I can send the link to the news media to the member opposite where I've already committed to do that, Mr. Speaker. We have openly committed to working with municipalities on that file, Mr. Speaker. It is a file that I have said that I would like to see how it turns out in those other jurisdictions. And there's no doubt we have to reduce our use of plastic here in the province of New Brunswick. No question about it. And bags is one of those low-hanging fruits, really, Mr. Speaker. We should go farther. And I think the member opposite should be pushing us to go farther with more of our single-use plastics, not just the plastic bags. There's so much more we can do. Mr. Speaker, right here in the province of New Brunswick, we have a company that recycles those plastic bags. Nobody's talking about that, why this company is doing such great things with those bags. But we do need to go forward, we do need to go farther, and I appreciate the question and the concern from the member opposite.
The member for Merriman-Coulter-Tramont.
Mr. Speaker, the time to act is now. We need a timeline on this, and municipalities are waiting to hear that timeline. In November, the Minister of Environment and his colleagues across the country agreed to cut Canada's waste by 30% by 2030 and 50% by 2040. New Brunswick has not even had a waste management strategy since 2001. The Minister and I have many things we agree on here. The Minister has said he thinks one of the biggest targets to reduce our waste should be plastics. I agree. He said he doesn't want different regions of the province to have different regulations. I agree. And he said we need to give retailers adequate time to prepare. I agree. However, I don't agree that we should delay any longer. We need to start now so we can give retailers and consumers time to prepare for changes that could come into effect maybe next year. What is the Minister of Environment and Local Government committing to doing this year to make New Brunswick a leader in reducing our use of plastics?
Minister of Environment and Local Government.
Well, I think we all have a role to play in the reduce of our plastics in our environment, Mr. Speaker, and so far from what I've seen around the province, there's a lot we can do, a lot that every one of us in this room can do, every one of our constituents can do better. Mr. Speaker, when I traveled around the flood areas this spring, all I saw in the ditches in New Brunswick was garbage and plastic. There's no need of it. We have to start behaving better as individuals to start with. Now, at some point in time, the member opposite agrees with me that government has to come in and create that legislation because we just can't do it on our own as citizens. We just can't seem to get to that point. But I will say, I have met with the municipal associations on several occasions, and in their top 6 of wish list items, reducing plastic bags or bringing that legislation isn't one of them. So we can't chase every topic that comes to our table, Mr. Speaker. We have to pick our priorities. That one for me is a big one, and we'll get to it when we get the other items ticked off the list. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.